Hundreds of opposition activists were arrested by Egyptian security forces in Cairo, Alexandria, and Suez Wednesday, January 26, in an attempt to quell the stormy anti-government demonstrations which began sweeping Egyptian cities Tuesday, before they got out of hand. Official sources said 500 arrests were made, while Debka Files Middle East sources put the figure closer to 1,000, including journalists. This morning, the day after 4 people were killed in the anti-Mubarak rallies, the Interior Ministry in Cairo banned public gatherings, street protests, and marches, warning that anyone defying the ban would be detained and prosecuted. Nonetheless, by nightfall Wednesday, demonstrators were again on the streets of Cairo and Suez. Foreign correspondents reported that hundreds congregated outside the Egyptian Journalists Association building in central Cairo and clashed with police forces. In Suez, protesters gathered around the local morgue and demanded the body of the demonstrator killed Tuesday. Police tried to disperse them with water cannon and tear gas. Mohammed el-Baradei, former director of the UN nuclear watchdog, who is considered running in the next presidential election, called the Egyptian masses to join the street rallies against President Hosni Mubarak. If you are a subscriber to my website, I reported 4 days ago that Foreign Policy magazine had listed both Egypt and Jordan as ripe for a Tanzania-style takeover and could be next in line for a revolt. Foreign Policy magazine was right on cue with this information, and Jordan looks to be headed in the same direction as Egypt. Certainly, if both of these countries were to fall to a popular uprising, Israel's fragile peace agreement would likely fall as well. Don't expect the next leaders of these regimes to be as diplomatic with Israel if indeed they do fall. That's not to say that the present regimes would not jump at a chance to destroy Israel if conditions were favorable. Lebanon's Hezbollah-backed candidate for Prime Minister began the process of forming a new cabinet on Wednesday as calm returned to the country after 2 days of protests against Hezbollah's growing influence. Police and army troops opened all roads and removed barriers across the nation, while Prime Minister-designate Najib Mikati took the first step in forming a new cabinet by visiting former prime ministers. Hezbollah and its allies ousted the Western-backed government 2 weeks ago when they quit the cabinet. Again, as reported earlier, this is Hezbollah's attempt at legally taking over Lebanon through a soft coup that seems to project Prime Minister-designate Najib Mikati has been selected by means of an official Lebanon mandate. However, it's obvious that they have used subtle strong-arm tactics to ensure that their man would rise to power. Of course, Iran and Syria are ultimately behind this coup in an attempt to shield Hezbollah henchmen from prosecution by an international tribunal. In the event, both Syria and Iran would be named as the country responsible for giving the order. Frankly, if the international community cannot stop Iran from its mission of obtaining nuclear weapons, there is little hope that this paper tribunal will be of much value. In other news, the leaked Palestinian papers documents suggest the Palestinians were ready to make big concessions despite public claims to the contrary. But in an interview with the BBC, Mr. Erekat admitted that some of the material was true. He had initially dismissed it as a pack of lies. He has vowed to take responsibility if the leaks came from his office. The Palestinian Authority has been rocked by the revelations which show that in private meetings with Israeli negotiators, Palestinian negotiators appeared to offer compromises on issues including status of Jerusalem, Jewish settlements, and the right of return for Palestinian refugees. It would be foolish to jump to conclusions as to the direction the revealing of the Palestinian papers will take the Middle East peace talks. In the short run, it proves as justification that the Palestinians never required a settlement freeze in the past, but in fact states that Palestinian negotiators were willing to make massive concessions that were previously considered unthinkable. One would think if they were willing to make these types of concessions in the past, what prevents the Palestinians from at least returning to the negotiation table absent the requirement of the settlement freeze? But somehow, some way, even with this available information, I see the international community continuing to pressure Israel to invoke a new settlement freeze as a condition for the continuation of direct talks. If you are not a subscriber to my website, I would like to encourage you to become one. You will find that by doing so you will be informed of both articles and videos that I have published. Just go to the Calvary Prophecy Report link found on my YouTube channel, and on the top right hand side of my home page you will find a subscribe link. Click on it and enter your email address where you will want to be alerted when an article or video report has been published. May the Lord bless you and keep you in this final hour. This is Terry Malone with the Calvary Prophecy Report.